So we are now having VFX artists come out and talk about the terrible quality of Ant-Man 3, even talking about how Marvel has been spread thin due to overlapping post-production, having many different Marvel films being worked on simultaneously. This is something no company wants, and yet here we are. And one of the main prevalent issues when it comes to Ant-Man 3 is just the way Modak looks. They made a villain who's supposed to be scary looking with scars and scratches to now having Modak look like an adult who has a baby face. And people all over Twitter pointed out just how bad Modak looked, having a man's face that was just stretched out with creamy smooth skin. Like seriously, I want that skin and I need that acne treatment that Modak is using. But in all seriousness, this is of no surprise when you have a company that treats their VFX artists like crap as they are being overworked and underpaid. Even though they're the ones that bring the MCU come to life. And we will be covering what many believe to be the case as to why quality is going down across the board when it comes to the MCU. With having now VFX artists throughout the industry giving their take as to what went wrong with Ant-Man 3, and as the movie currently sits on Rotten Tomatoes with a 48% critic score and an 84% audience score, which is surprising as most of the time we tend to have these critics praise Marvel with high ratings for how great their movies are. But in this case with Ant-Man 3, that doesn't seem to be the case, as Ant-Man 3 is tied with Eternals as being one of the lowest rated Marvel movies. Again, only talking about the critics' ratings. Having Jin, a visual effects technician, noticing that there have been shortcuts that took place, having certain things to cover up incomplete work. Now, I'm no VFX artist, but when you try and take shortcuts in almost anything, you either end up making something with terrible quality or end up being faced with consequences because of those shortcuts. And with Ant-Man 3, it is being faced with both. Even Jin continuing to state that there seemed to be not enough time to render everything and having certain scenes being trimmed or changed to save money. And another problem arises when you have Marvel as a company producing multiple movies and shows at once. You know there's a saying when it comes to this, and that saying goes by, don't spread yourself thin. And with Marvel over the years, they seem to not understand this and continue to mass produce things. And what do we see in return? We see fatigue set in with the audiences, as well as quality across the board just degrade itself. You can also thank the poor quality to the root cause of that being human greed, in which case we tend to see in everything having people look out for themselves rather than the backbone, and that being their workers, and in this case being Marvel's VFX artists, not hiring more VFX artists to save on a few pennies, as the company's understaffed, which results in overworked workers, and it doesn't take a genius to figure that out, with having this often result in people being burned out, and also leading people to have breakdowns due to the amount of stress that is being forced upon them. And it certainly doesn't help when most of your workers are afraid half of the time when it comes to losing their jobs, having reports of Marvel Studios being accused of having a blacklist. What are some ways to get on this blacklist, you may be asking? Well, there are two. The first being to leave a show early for any reason. So if someone has a death in the family or catches an illness that puts them out of commission for a while, you will be added to this potential list and Marvel will make sure you never work for them again. Which furthermore adds to Marvel's workforce being understaffed and having many VFX artists not wanting to work for the company in general because of the toxic work environment. But that isn't the only potential way of getting on this blacklist, as if you piss off Victoria Alonso here, also known as the Kingmaker in the industry, which could affect your career in the industry, as you would just get frozen out and never be able to move up to higher positions, which leads to people to quit, and again, these are all allegations and nothing has been proven yet. And it certainly doesn't help that Marvel and its movies in general are costing more and more to make as the years go by, having Ant-Man 3 costing up to $200 million, and that's without marketing. You also have to take into account marketing, which tends to not be featured within these budgets, with having Marvel spending tens of millions of dollars to have just one Super Bowl commercial, which is where the budget seems to be mostly going, and that is marketing rather than their workers. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts in the comments. If you guys enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.